Hey y'all, XR student here. So this week my family and I took a trip to Tennessee to go hiking and it was so beautiful. There was so much nature, beautiful bugs and plants. I loved it. It was great being outdoors, but I needed to figure out what the heck I was gonna make this week. I researched moths in Tennessee as one does, and I found this cool chart. So I decided to watercolor paint them with my travel kit that my brother and sister-in-law got for me. At first I thought I'd be able to stop and paint on the trail, but with the hikes we were doing, I'm not gonna do that. So I thought it'd be fun to just try layering and seeing if I could even paint a realistic moth based on a photo. You definitely need a lot of dry time and many layers to build up the colors that you need, especially with the tiny palette that I had. It was really fun to whip it out wherever and start painting when I had the time. It was also great to see the moths slowly coming to life. I just knew, okay, keep adding a little bit more water, make it more see-through, add a little bit of this color, it will eventually look good. And thankfully it did eventually. Alright, so I'm just gonna kind of talk about Tennessee because I don't have anything else to talk about when it comes to this. With the watercoloring, it was basically the same thing. I had this brush with the water inside of it so I could dilute some of the colors or make it very prismatic and in your face. I just kept drying and layering until it looked correct. And I did that with all 7 or 8 of the moths I made. And I'm pretty happy with how they turned out, and if not, I just added more, or I would do just a wet brush on top of the color, use a little bit of paper towel, and take that color off if it was too much. Anyways, Tennessee. We went for my dad and my brother's birthday, and it was also Easter, so it was a lot of fun stuff. We decorated and celebrated and went on a lot of hikes. It was cool to be with my family. Not everyone could come, which stunk, but it was still cool to just be outside, spend a ton of time with my niece, who I don't see often, besides on FaceTime, and it was just nice. The first day, when we were driving there, we got stuck in some traffic, but it was still beautiful to just be outside, and we were in this really cool Airbnb that had video games, like arcade games in the basement, and my dad would be up at like 12 or 1 a.m. just tapping away, which was pretty funny until you were sleeping, then it wasn't funny. Our view in the cabin was beautiful. Sunsets on the Smoky Mountains were amazing. My sister-in-law, my mom, and I all prepared stuff for the birthday party celebrations beforehand. So I printed out a bunch of signs. My sister-in-law got balloons and streamers. We got cake and little bugs and made it like dirty 30 kind of wildernessy theme because we were gonna be hiking, and I made everyone little bandanas. It was actually pretty cute. I didn't have any time for it, but like beforehand to prep, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, even though it's kind of messy. We went to a walk near a river that was so pretty. And then later we went to Buc-ee's for the first time and basically spent a ton of time, more than we needed to there. But it was our first time, so of course we had to stay long. And of course we bought a bunch of things we didn't need, which was fun. We eventually had to pick up different things around town, and we drove through Pigeon Forge, and it's kind of near Dollywood, or maybe it's the same town, but basically just imagine seeing the Titanic and then seeing castles and giant alligators and pirate ships all along the street and getting really distracted and wanting to look at everything. On Easter, it was pretty rainy and foggy, but luckily the cabin we were in had a lot to do, and we were entertained by my niece, and we had a lot of games, whether it was video games or card games. And when it finally cleared up, we actually went on a family hike, which was super duper uphill, not really flat. But it was really cool to see the smoke, in quotations, on the Smoky Mountain. It was just a bunch of fog, but it was beautiful. And then we saw a turkey in the wild. It was so cool. And we picked up cool rocks and found some cool sunsets. You know, all the things you do in nature. So I'm looking through my photos, and that's the only way I'm able to remember what we did. And it looks like the next day we went to the Smoky Mountains again, and we went on Husky Loop or something. I don't know. It started with Husky, and there were cool little old houses there that I bashed my head on one of the short ass beams. There was cool rock walls and chimneys and stuff, and a beautiful waterfall. And if you keep climbing up all the way along the waterfall, you got really beautiful views. After all the hiking, we went into the town of, I think, Pigeon Forge, and we got to see all the touristy things and the sunset and find penny presses and get Auntie Anne's. It was actually really fun running around town with my brother. And then we'd see like my other brother and my dad and my mom and my sister-in-law and my niece. It was just being like, oh yeah, I know you. I'm too sick to keep talking, but I'll keep talking anyways. So we went to the aquarium the next day, and it was super duper crowded. I felt like a sardine, but my niece loved it, so I've gotta love it too. And we went into the shark tunnel that had a conveyor belt on the floor where you just stood on it, and it slowly brought you through the shark tunnel, and you got to see really amazing things. And then that night I spotted a bear, so I won $5, beat all my siblings, haha, losers. Yeah, basically my mom wanted to see a bear, and if we spotted one and showed her, we would get $5. Not that I was doing it for the money. I was like, oh my god, that's a fucking bear. And then I saw the other bear on someone's driveway. I'm like, oh my god, a bear! Like, they just kind of look like big giant dogs, but a little bit scarier at the pointy teeth, but they're really fluffy and cute. I think the last day that we were there to explore, we went into town and just kind of looked at all the shops and went on a little hike, as always. Got to see the beautiful scenery, and yeah, eventually I made it back home to Connecticut, but long travel days. They were worth it though. I'm very grateful I got to go on this trip. I didn't think I'd be going anywhere this year, so it's nice that my parents were able to treat us and bring us there, and we were able to celebrate as a family and just see some beautiful stuff that we otherwise wouldn't have seen. And this is now the 4th time I've been to Tennessee, which is pretty crazy. I never ever thought in my life that I'd be going to Tennessee ever. But now I want to go to all of the state parks, like the national parks, and just see everything and hopefully observe beautiful bugs and plants and continue to paint them and sculpt them or whatever, because it's just really nice to be outside. Alright, I'm gonna let you guys listen to some music, and I'll tune back in a little bit. At first, I was going to leave all of these paintings just as is in my notebook, but I realized, what if I made it into a pop-up, like a pop-up book? So I found this guy on YouTube who taught me how to make pop-ups, and I cut each one of these moths out and was getting ready to figure out how the heck to create a pop-up. After I cut out all of these, I realized I would have the back showing, and if I wanted to use the pop-up mechanism, I wanted to hide it. So I cut out the same shape of the wings as the backing and found this cool font to write all of the moth names on the back, so then I could hide the ugly pop-up mechanism and still make it look whimsical and pretty on both sides. This is the guy on YouTube. He has so many tutorials and it's great. I used tutorial 26 and 25 to help me. I mainly just looked at what he did and copied it, because he had measurements and I just tried to wing it based on what he was doing. I know he has a whole book and I'm sure that is way more helpful than what I did. I made it work and everything was able to pop up eventually, so that was pretty cool. Here I'm cutting out the slits for where the pop-up mechanism will go through, and then I have to glue my wings onto it and hope it actually works and I didn't mess everything up. Guys, your girl's a genius. Take a look at this pop-up. Oh my gosh! Okay, anyways, here's all the close-ups. This was so cool. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out all my other stuff, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.